Hi everyone, Al Psych here. I'm doing a video, part 5 of overcoming addiction. This is the last part, and again, this is for informational purposes only. Okay, so let's get to it. So finally, the author talks about craving, and he states, craving, like hunger, thirst, and sexual craving, is a state of tension that motivates you to engage in your addiction. Craving is uncomfortable, and it is motivating because it is uncomfortable. By engaging in the addiction, you make the craving, the discomfort, go away. Okay, makes sense. Now, the first step in learning how to manage and ultimately eliminate craving is to monitor it. So you have to monitor frequency, intensity, and duration. This is just like, when I worked in a school district and we were doing functional behavior assessment and behavior intervention plans. We needed to know about frequency, intensity, and duration of the behavior we were targeting. So you also want to know what your high risk situations are. So do you tend to drink too much around certain people or certain activities or in certain places? That's important to know. So this is real important in my mind, this next statement. Cravings are time limited, okay? So if a craving is not acted upon, it eventually goes away. In my opinion, this is huge, okay? Knowing that this eventually will go away, okay? So how to cope with cravings? Okay, well, you can avoid the high risk trigger situations and places and people and activities, um, especially if you're early in your abstinence or maintenance phase. Okay, now you might substitute one item or activity for another. Again, this is not new. Okay, so drink a non-alcoholic drink versus an alcoholic drink. And I remember years ago, we'd meet up sometimes at a friend's man cave for Monday night football, fantasy football thing going on. And one of the guys would drink O'Doul's, a non-alcoholic beer, while the other guys, were drinking beer with alcohol in it. But the idea is that the O'Doul's, non-alcoholic, worked for him. It might not work for everybody, but for him, it worked, and he was part of the group. Now, some people might not be able to be in a situation like that, but for him, it worked. So instead of mindlessly watching uh, porn, you can go watch a drama or you can go for a walk. So you get the idea. You're substituting something for that previous addictive activity that you were engaged in. And again, like I said, this is not new. I mean, we would use the same strategy in the school districts. I remember working with kids and they're tapping their pencil on the desk. Well, we'd give them something that was very soft, some piece of foam or something, and they could tap the foam on the desk and wouldn't bother anybody. Okay. Now, you can also redirect attention. So if the craving is small, you can probably get away with just putting your attention somewhere else. Okay. You find another activity, and if you can, and you're able, you can, from an observer's point of view, study your craving. You pay attention to it as the level of the craving diminishes. You have that craving, and like I said earlier, it is time limited. So eventually that craving is going to go down. Now, some people can do this, and some people, might just get them a little too worked up. But if you can do that, and you can actually play with it a little bit and see it diminishing, kind of gives you a sense of, some power and control there. Maybe remember coping strategies and mantras that may have been successful for you in the past for whatever was going on in the past. So sometimes you can use those things, those strategies. And finally, I think this is real important. Prepare yourself for potential challenges. Think about what could happen and have a plan that you've already visualized engaging in, several times in your head, and then act on that plan. So, for example, you run into an old drinking buddy, you've got a drinking issue, you're maintaining right now, or you're abstaining, and the old buddy wants to buy you a drink. Have a plan already in your head, in your mind, about how you're going to deal with that situation, and be prepared with other types of scenarios that can potentially come up. Have answers ready, statements ready, like pat answers, no, I can't do that. If you're not embarrassed about talking about that you're abstaining, go ahead and say it. Yeah, I've got an issue, I'm working on not drinking right now. So there's a lot of ways that you can handle it. Whatever works for you, go ahead and work on that. Visualize it, do it over and over in your head, and be prepared to deal with it when the situation comes up, or a similar type situation arises that you've been preparing for. Okay, and that is it. That's part 5 of overcoming addiction. I took a lot of information from the author. I added, some of my own 2 cents in as well. But I think it's useful information. If you want to get more detail, obviously, go to the book. Okay, thank you.